Just gonna share a couple of thoughts this morning. Whenever life feels scary and uncertain, I oftentimes think that, and oftentimes know that so often we want to know who is on our side, who is fighting for us, who's going to be there for us, who stands for me. And for those of us who have the energy for it, our job right now is to be fighters, to fight and to show how we're fighting, why we are fighting, and what we are fighting for. It's not just an unstrategic fight, but it's a clear and focused fight. Our challenge is to take on corporate enablers and corporate power, making sure we deliver as protectors against the corporate things that corporations do to put us in harm's way. It is to make sure we deliver on what actually makes people's lives better, the type of changes that move us forward in real terms that people want, and make sure that we build the right infrastructure to get credit for it. I think we have to be, and I know we have to be, the leaders who are unafraid of doing those things. We have to be the leaders who will go after the people who enable Trump's worst actions. We must be the leaders that can win people over and motivate people to action. Millions less people voted this year than in 2020. And I think about that a lot in terms of the things that we have to do to tell a different story, to bring people into a story about why things are the way they are. When we tell a story that actually leaves out all of the infrastructure, the profit incentives that are standing in the way of real change, people will fill that story in with immigrants, with Black people, with women's equality. They will fill that story in with other things, especially when the other side is doing it for them. We have to tell a credible and real story about why change is not happening, who's standing in the way, who's profiting. And we have to do that if we want to actually win for the future, win in new ways. Our responsibility is going to be to turn anger, to turn sadness, to turn all the disillusionment people are feeling right now into action. But I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be angry for a minute. The right wing gets to lie with no limits because they dominate the media and no one stands in their way. They get to insult, attack, and demean people and no one stands in their way. They get to throw out insults and say the most misogynist, racist things and no one stands in their way. But our challenge now is to build the infrastructure, to build the will, to build the strategy to actually stand in their way. And I'm not talking about simply speaking truth to power. I'm talking about building the infrastructure to be able to reach people at scale the way that we actually need to. I'm talking about being able to build the strategy that actually builds leverage and brings more people into our movement. I think a lot about what does it actually mean to not just have people like our stuff and share our stuff and show up every once in a while to a rally, but what does it mean to spur true participation on the things that we care about, on the work that we care about? It's, so often a church isn't just interested in if you read the Bible, if you don't show up to church. We need people not just to read our stuff and share our stuff, but to show up to the church, to show up, engage, and fight with us. And that's what I mean when I talk about translating presence into power. Visibility, awareness, retweets, shout outs from the stage, a good vibe is not a bad thing. But power is the ability to change the rules. And whether it's the unwritten rules or the written rules, that is going to be the work ahead. It is going to be about building the true infrastructure and the true power to translate what's ahead, to be able to fight back, but also be able to fight forward. So that is some of my morning thoughts as I wake up, focused and determined to do everything I can to stand up and protect the people that I love, to protect the people that will be in harm's way, and also to recognize that no struggle and no fight is won overnight, that our work, our responsibility, our engagement is to continue to recognize that we've got to do everything we possibly can to win. And by everything we possibly can to win, I mean we have to start with strategy. We have to start with focus, and we have to start with the right level of engagement. We have to be the right type of leaders for this incredibly challenging but incredibly important moment.